Of the more than 260 injured in the Boston Marathon bombings, 15 lost limbs. Charitable donations coming in for many of the victims may help toward short-term medical bills, but it is hard to put a price tag on the cost of the long-term emotional trauma. Many of the injuries suffered by the victims of the Boston Marathon bombings are similar to the injuries suffered by military personnel who have encountered IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan. The regional director of the Wounded Warriors Project knows this reality all too well. Jonathan Pruden has been working for the Wounded Warriors Project since 2007 and was one of the first soldiers to lose a limb from an IED in 2003. This retired U.S. Army captain says the setting may be different, but the marathon victims and war veterans have multiple similarities in their journey to recovery.
The shrapnel, the physical forces involved, and of course the recovery from those sorts of traumatic penetrating wounds, I'd say it's in all likelihood very similar. But the difference is they were mostly civilians running a race. We were combatants in a war zone, and so while I can tell you I never expected what would happen, I also knew there was a very real possibility, and there's also a medevac system set up and a system in place to deal with that in country. There are warriors being hit by IEDs almost daily, and the number in Boston is horrific, and you can't in any way minimize the 15 amputees there, but there are hundreds of amputees coming back every year from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Some wounded warriors who have been hit by IEDs have visited the Boston Marathon victims. Pruden says he hopes their visits will bring encouragement to the wounded civilians.
That I know that a few wounded warriors have actually been up there and talked with them. Personally, I don't have any concrete plans. I'd enjoy down the road getting to talk with some of them. But again, I think right now is a time of really dealing with the here and now. And they should have their family. I don't want to be another well-intentioned person intruding on what's already a very, very difficult time.
After his own encounter with an IED, Pruden underwent 19 operations. It was in the 20th operation when doctors decided to amputate his right leg. It took Pruden more than 2 years to recover, but he says recovery time varies from person to person.
There are ongoing ramifications will be lifelong as far as things that need to be done. But again, it's different for everyone. Some people it takes years to get up and walking. Some people have been, with fairly clean traumatic lower limb amputations, have been walking within a couple months of their injury. And so it's really different for everybody. Depends on infections. And secondary issues, the joints and other extremities, and also their physical condition beforehand. But it's a mixed bag.
Throughout the healing process, Pruden says expectations surrounding recovery can be the difference between a hopeful spirit and a broken one.
Yeah, it will be a long journey for all of them, and a lifelong journey.
What would you say to one of them if you could talk to one of them, one of the victims?
That there is your future is not limited by your loss of a limb or any other disability, but that you don't have to set expectations for yourself that are unreasonable. Every once in a while we'd have well-intentioned, amputees come in and, say, hey, look at me, I'm running marathons and triathlons with my missing limbs, and they slap us on the back and say, you can do it too. Come on, let's go and run a marathon together. At that point, when I was in chronic pain and really dealing with the extent of the loss and not sure about even walking, more than anything, that made me angry. It didn't make me feel good or empowered. So I think a lot of well-intentioned folks can push too hard up front, and I'd say don't feel that anybody else's expectations should be your own.
A day-by-day approach to healing is something Pruden says is pivotal in the success of each victim's triumph over terror. For Florida's 89.1 WUFT-FM, I'm Leah Harding.